Which one's right? The two? Good evening. This is Sherelle with the Soulutionary podcast. Thank you guys for being here. Tonight we are our topic tonight is who is responsible for the state of the Black community? We have a couple guests. We have, first and foremost, I just want to come here and tell you guys that we are live. We are going forward with this podcast. So make sure you tune in every Friday at 7:00. We are going to be coming up with new subjects every week with this platform. So make sure you tune in. I do have a few guests tonight that we're going to be speaking with to try to come up with some solutions to who is responsible for the Black community. Who's responsible for Black America? Who's going to take that responsibility, and how do we change our thought process around some of the things that we need? Let's see. I think I have a few guests already here and ready for us. Denitra?
Oh. I was just wanting to watch Sherelle. How did I get on?
Hi.
Hello.
And now you're here, unfortunately. Hi, beautiful.
No.
Well, how are you? Actually, why don't you tell us about yourself, Denitra? Tell us what you do.
Well, I am an author illustrator, and I create a really cute character by the name of Purdy Birdie, and she represents self-love and Black culture. And she teaches the littles and people of all ages and ethnicities how fun self-love is. And so I teach kids self-love tools and techniques through fun, whimsical characters and rhyming stories. And that's her.
Can we see her?
Yes.
I want to see her. Can we show the world Purdy Birdie?
Is this right? I don't know. Can you see it, or is that the window? Can you see Purdy Birdie?
Oh, yep, we can see her. I think that's my favorite character too.
Yeah. So,
how many characters do you have so far?
I have about 12 total.
And you have a book?
And I have a book, and it's called Purdy Birdie, I Love Myself, Can You See? It's a self-published
Do you have a copy?
book. Do I have a copy? Yes, I do. And I just got my grant, or I got half my grant today. Thank you, Sherelle, for the hookup.
Congratulations. No, that's all you.
I'm going to be buying 250 books. Oh, shoot. You want the book? I didn't come on for this. I came on to support you and watch.
Oh, well. Purdy Birdie, and you got your t-shirt on. I appreciate you.
It's Purdy Birdie Friday, so it's all about Purdy Birdie every Friday. But let me grab my book.
Okay. Go ahead. We got somebody else coming on.
Awesome.
Who else is joining us tonight? Monique.
Hi, Monique.
Hi.
I'm going to be on now. Thank you for letting me do my little spiel. But here's that's my book.
I think Monique needs to see that book. She has a 3-year-old.
Oh, yes. You definitely need this in your house. Such a good book. Such a good tool.
You put it in the chat, please, because I couldn't see it. I'm on my phone, so the screen, it was really small, and I want to see that up close.
I'll definitely put her information also in.
Please
do. Got you. I'm going to send you a copy. I'm going to give it to Sherelle. Are you in Seattle?
I'm in Sacramento. You're going to send me a copy?
Yes, I will. I just got a really large grant to buy 250 books. And so
we're doing the work.
You can have one.
Bless.
Yes. So, however, I can't get your address, but I don't want to be too long on here. I want to hear what y'all have to say.
please stay. If you're able to stay and listen on screen, that'll be great. If you want to chime in, you can chime in. Tonight, Monique, we're talking about the state of the Black America. Who's responsible for the state of Black America? And I say this because just recently I had a sister shoot me a job description or a job fair, and it was for King County, and she said only 2 Black men showed up, or 2 Black people showed up, period. I see her doing the work, but why are we not showing up? So I have to, who is responsible? I really want to dive into who's responsible for Black America. And I know we have another guest that's showing up. Let's bring her on real quick. I'm waiting. Beautiful Katrina.
Hey,
Thank
how are
you for
you?
joining us.
I could
How
not
are
get it
you?
to open. Can you hear me?
I sure can.
Okay. I couldn't get it open on my phone, so I had to move it around or something and pull it up on my computer. So I apologize for that.
You guys compliment me very well.
Awesome.
Oh, wow.
I wish we were in a real picture together. Just to
you.
make sure that we all know each other. Denitra, this is Monique and Katrina. Katrina, this is
Hi,
Monique and
Denitra.
Denitra.
We know
did
each
I
other
do all-
already.
Katrina and Mo. I just don't think
No,
you guys have
me-
ever met Denitra.
This is the first time meeting in person, but I've heard her name enough.
Yeah, she's been my friend forever.
Yes.
Okay, so Katrina, who's responsible for Black America is what we're talking about tonight.
Okay.
What do you guys think? Who's responsible for Black America? Ultimately.
You know, there was a question that was laid out on Facebook, and it was over a video that was played because of the Asian community selling black hair and getting in there, and they had this little thing where it was saying that the African American community was suppressed by people's actions, and these different groups and stuff are doing things, and I don't know if it's right or not. It the mentality, not downplaying the stuff that we went through. I promise you on that part, because we're responsible for our own. We're responsible for of information, formulating game plans, coming together, figuring out ways other communities are doing it, maybe, and actually putting things in play by action. We do a lot of talk. I feel we can point the finger. It's easier. I feel it's easier. Look at the Asians. They're doing it. You know what though? They're not doing it within their own community, or just their own community, because they're gathering resources and figuring out what they can do and then implementing it, and it's working. Not to say that they're trying to step on other people's toes, or the any other color community, or Samoans or whoever. I think that a lot of times the community feel within our own is not there to motivate us to come together, even attempt to do anything different. Being said, we're responsible for our
I agree. I totally agree. So I think because we live in a capitalist society, we're able to really throw that blame when we're looking at the Asians and saying that they're possibly appropriating our culture by having the beauty stores and stuff. But we could do that on ourselves. So, but why don't we?
We
Why don't
do.
we sell? We do?
We do. Yes. We're out there. We're out there making our products, selling our products. Yes. It's not on the level of some of the other people doing it, but we're doing it. And that's why it's important to support small businesses, because small Black owned businesses are doing big things, but we can't do it without our support. And I, as a Black owned business, I find, and I'm going to just be honest, just my demographic, the white folks love me. They support me, and they're my allies. Like I love my peoples, but like, I don't be really getting that support that I feel I deserve from Black folks.
Right.
Even though I create a little Black character that represents Black culture and teaches all the little kids about self-love, just because where I'm at, like, you know, I have allies.
Right.
You know, and but our small Black businesses are doing big things.
They
And
really
we need
are.
to support them. We need to support them.
Yeah, I just seen a post the other day that said that I think it was Edible Arrangements in Bellevue was paying like some astronomical high hourly, but nobody wanted the job or hadn't taken the job yet, which I was just like, and it's a Black owned business and they're small and they're paying well, but we won't take the job. So Monique, why don't we support each other?
And it's really sad. There is a general consensus just among people that anything that Black people do is not going to be equivalent in. People just automatically have a default notion of lesser support. Oh, is it gonna? Oh, do you got your stake? You're always going to be questioned and second guessed against your professionalism, your knowledge. All of it is always instinctively subpar already. People already have this notion that it's not going to have excellence.
Right.
So your own people will
Why?
support you in what you do. There ain't no way my own family supports me as a life insurance agent. What
Right.
do you know about finance? What could you tell me?
Facts. And let me just say this, because I know all three of you Black women are business owners. So thank you, first and foremost, for doing your thing. Let me make sure I can help. So what I hear you saying, Monique, is that we just have to support each other point blank.
Yes.
Right? So, okay. So remember we talked about the internal and the external factors of why we're here.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you. We have an overlap.
It's okay.
I was asking you a question.
Go ahead.
About the people not applying for that job.
What was the question?
You said that there was a position that was sought after. You would have thought people would have applied for it. She said only 2 Black men applied for this particular job.
Girl, and you know, sis, I even reached and sent that to brothers I know. Show up.
So do you think what is it?
Employment process of getting into King County.
They
and
automatically disqualify themselves. They automatically say, it's the instant thought, my background, I'm not going to pass. I can't. People don't apply for what they don't think they can actually attain. Like, not even going to bother putting myself through it.
You think
and
that
then is the job worth going through the hoops that they want to put me through for the? Do I even want to do that kind of work? So it automatically disqualifies people.
I know, but it's like, dang. Because when I looked at the jobs, although, you know, I have a full-time job and other extracurricular activities.
Right.
This podcast, I was even like, this is my foot in the door to King County. I can just go take this part-time job and have my way into King County, but no one else is thinking like that. Like, this is.
Yeah, I think I think there's a disconnect between what it means for generational wealth, not just within your family, but within the community versus instant
perceived
gratification.
value.
Instant gratification with their superficial, you know, so it's like, do I just do this?
That's what
in
value.
order for, right?
Right. I think that's a Black people's problem. Like, how do we start to believe in ourselves? Like, I mean, because at this point, how I'm feeling is that we can't have that conversation with others until we have this conversation with ourselves. Like, we can ask for all the handouts in the world. We can ask for reparation. We can ask for whatever. But if we don't have this conversation between us to figure out where we went wrong and how we're going to be better, what's the point? What's the point of a handout?
I also think education, being a norm, should be a thing. And it doesn't have to be schooling, tradesmanship, you know, any ship. If you're going to get on it, you need to know what kind you're getting on so you can know how to drive that sucker, right?
Did you say any ship?
Yeah.
For real.
Never got a
You
ship.
know?
Jump on a ship.
So yes, even fellowship. For real,
Gotta-
because when it comes down to being a communal being, we're already communal. We're gonna want to be around each other. And when it comes to the point of success, which is already embedded that we're not going to, that's where that poverty mindset or doubt or value placement of either superficial return or generational or future return.
Right.
Right.
People, and we have a trajectory that we do when we talk to people. So when people are hating, it's because they're hating that person had the skill set to do it, and they
Yep.
don't like the fact that they cannot in themselves. How do they get past that? You have to heal, and we have to have self-love, but that's not taught, and that's where more ignorance is there, right? Knowledge
Right.
of self-love.
Right. And that's exactly what Denitra is trying to start with the babies is that self-love.
Yep, teaching children, but people
Absolutely.
all ages, but the younger you start, the better. Because when you have a young person that loves themselves, they can show up in the world and give what they have to give.
Right.
To themselves, so then you can give it out, you know. And
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
but yeah, self-love is key.
I would agree. Kendra says it can scare you. Why do you guys think that we are scared to take responsibility or accountability for our communities?
Well, something's coming in my forefront of my mind, which is gentrification. Like we're being, you know, our spaces are being taken away from us, and that's a big part of it as well. And you know,
Right. I think, is it innate within us to have that fear? Because I think just as we continue to live on this land and our history on this land has it taught us to be secure and not even on ourselves or even in our community. So do you guys think that it's innate within us? Like,
To have fear?
yeah, to have this fear of success, fear of taking on responsibility and accountability for our community, for our state of being in this country.
What it really means to be accountable. What it really means. It means
Accountability.
action. Do something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Accountability is really hard. I think fear, you know, when you know, I've been an entrepreneur for about 25 years now. And I remember my last job was Blockbuster Video, right? That tells you how old I am.
They don't even have that no more.
I was a store manager. I was a store manager for Blockbuster Video, and I watched it sink. I watched Redbox come out. I watched Netflix. I watched Hollywood start to shut down. Video updates, everything, all the way down to the crumble of where Blockbuster Video had closed.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like I was so dependent on that security. I didn't know what else to do. But I will tell you this, I was a single mom and I had a 3-year-old that I had to look at and say, we needed to figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a huge fear. The biggest fear was not being successful. How am I supposed to do this? How am I supposed to, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it had to come to sink or swim. But I do know one thing for sure. I'm never going to have that feeling again. And I haven't had a job since then. I refuse. And I'm not saying anything's wrong with having one. I promise you that part, because a lot of times people will say, oh, it's just about. I'm not down to nobody for having a job. I will get one too if it means to come up or gain a skill set.
Mm-hmm.
One of the problems I feel like is even in our community, even if we did have a job, releasing that and going out on our own to make me feel successful, and this mindset that we have to have this way and we have to work for so long, or you cannot do anything. You're so used to being told what to do. Then even if we do try and no one's telling us, we don't feel like we're being loved or cared for because no one's telling us what to do. Well, I might as well go back to this job that's telling me what to do, or I might as well go stay with my mom or go be somewhere that someone else is telling me what to do.
I call that the welfare state of mind. I call that the welfare state of mind. Kendra says, you think you are being supported, but they can say one thing and do another and stab you in the back.
Ooh. Ooh.
Why do we do that to each other? That's so counterproductive to the process. Why do we do that? Like, that sounds like we don't even have our own backs. Anyone else?
I want to say, just as I'm thinking about generational trauma, and just from my own experience as a Black woman in America, having the way I was raised, and having my mother be a young, like, teenage mom, and not being brought up in a family. My mom lost custody of me. I think individually, we all have these past traumas that haven't necessarily been checked in our today. So today, I'm still struggling from my trauma from my childhood, and I've had to work and unpack so much stuff. And I think that a big part of our community is dealing with unchecked trauma, and they're just trying to get by and trying to survive. And it's really hard to, like, support somebody when you can't even really support yourself,
Right. You don't even know how.
I mean, you don't know how. I never learned, financial literacy, how credit. Like, there's so much I didn't learn because of my upbringing that I am now learning as a 47-year-old. So we're all coming from different places.
Possible.
We're all coming from different places, and we all have our individual stories. And that's really all I have to say on that matter, because I don't want to be on this. I'm about to check out and just watch y'all, because I'm really thankful to be a part of this, and thank you. But
I love you, girl.
I'm gonna check out and check in at the same time. But nice meeting y'all. And I'm still gonna be here. I'm gonna be just
put my address in the chat.
Yes, please do.
Do not put your address in the chat, please.
No.
Text it to me and I'll text it to her.
Yeah.
I'll give y'all each other's number.
Okay.
All right, thank you. I appreciate you being here.
Monique and I were just talking about that the other day. Generational, having that embedded, the concept, and it carries with you in any category that you try to put yourself in, regardless. And deep down inside, you can be successful or do what you want to do. And there's something that comes with healing. But no one really knows what that means. What does that mean?
Well, to me, it means being accountable for yourself, first and foremost, like we keep saying. When we know that we have these traumas, we need to start working with them. I wish Denitra would have stayed on, because she does some really great peer counseling that I really wanted her to speak to, because I think it works. And exactly what we're doing, having this conversation to try to build each other up, to have an understanding of where we're going to go. But you're right. You're right. It's generational. We have been underneath the rock or put underneath the rock, and some people just don't feel like they can move the rock. Some people feel like they can tiptoe around the rock. Some people actually move the rock all the way, like I see you sisters doing for yourselves.
That's a good way to put it.
What are the solutions? What are these solutions? And I remember we were talking about this, Monique, the external and the internal fractions of what we need to do. We said that externally, societally, voting was number one. You made me realize that we needed to make sure that we focused on our local voting. And why again, Monique? What was your stance on that?
What did I say earlier about, it was really speaking along the lines of the accountability, or are you talking about the generational poverty that we were talking about the other day?
We were talking about voting.
Oh man, yes, that's it. Local. Oh, I said local. Your local community government, the school boards, the PTA, working from within the city council, that is where you will see the biggest difference made um, in your
Why?
backyard.
Why, Monique? Why?
I have seen where you have the opportunity to request to be present in the decision making of how the monies are spent in your community. That's the biggest thing. All you'll see all the RFPs, you see all the calls for grants, you see all the community development block grants. You'll see how the money flows in your community if you are close to the line. The school board,
Right.
like here in California, the Sacramento County Office of Education is over all the school districts in the city, in the county. So
Mm-hmm.
go straight to the source and the voting, the levies for the school, all that stuff is connected. That's your local work from close to home is what I see.
Right.
I'm not a part of any city government or anything like that, but I respect their process. I get all the stuff. I'm signed up for all of their everything city, everything county, what is going on in your neighborhood. Like people are really close. When I see there's monies being put out for studying
Mm-hmm.
how to spend money to solve a certain economic problem that we have. So if
Right. So you're
there's
saying be
money
in the room, be at the table.
to be at the table, like why are you designating $75,000 to talk about doing something? It's like I'm like nobody was there. Like
I
Right.
think that's where the disconnect comes from again with
yeah,
education, because
yep,
not just, I'm not saying the learned of a subject. I'm meaning awareness, and that awareness being fed into.
Mm-hmm.
Because
yeah,
we know, right? Even like as a mother, right? We have children, they're going to school. We know you can sign up for the PTA. We know you can go and
right,
volunteer. We know, but for some reason, there is a disconnect in our roles. Oh, that's what they do. That's what
yeah.
they
I've
do.
seen that.
That's
Mm-hmm.
what they do. No,
Yeah,
go and be a part of
be
that.
involved.
Being
Yeah,
involved
yeah,
needs to be normalized, not
yeah.
separated. That's their teacher's
Having a
job.
voice at the table. People
You
don't think that their voice should be at the table or that just don't feel like it, not want to be involved. Let them deal with it. It's one less thing that I gotta worry about. Like,
Mhm.
you know what I mean?
Right.
When you see
Right.
it running,
Right.
it's running smooth. It's great. I hired y'all to do this. Great. Thank you very much.
Right. And it makes sense because if I can remember, even just going back to the pandemic. Hold on, let's listen to what Kendra has to say first because she's one of our biggest supporters. As a single Black mom who is preserving as a mom, bettering yourself, and to get out of the situation where you came from and be the role model for your kids. Easier said than done, though, sis. I feel like we got stuck. Okay, so if we look at poverty, and I remember like going to school and being excited for just the school lunch, right? Because it was a solid meal.
Yeah, sometimes.
I can imagine that the parents in such a situation would be happy that they can send their children to school for
Yep.
a solid meal.
At least they're
But I
gonna eat.
also realize that that comes from poverty
Yep.
and an impoverished mind. So do you see the disconnect? Like we push our kids out to go just be handled and babysitted by somebody else, basically. And I think we've seen a lot of that crash during COVID when parents couldn't even handle their own kids at home. So I just
Yeah.
think that as I think about it, I'm thinking that it's really poverty that because there's not food in the home, perhaps it really just the disconnect, I'm just trying to figure out where that disconnect happens. Why are we not invested in our children's education when we know that they're the future of the state of Black America, the state of America, period?
Yep.
Because that's their job.
Yep. Don't feel like it's our job.
That's the teacher's job. That's where that disconnect comes in. They don't know. That's where education is. Like we have to teach our communities that our involvement is what makes that school system be what it is. It's not taught that. It's just you go to work, your kids will go here. It's institutionalized settings. It's
Mm.
just what it is, because then I'm boundary, or people sit in your kid's classroom all day if you want it.
Sure
They have
can.
no idea.
I'm about to do it to my high
You
schooler.
know, it pop up all the time. I'm like, oh, I'm having lunch, and my kids looking at me like I'm crazy. Just the involvement. Now, I'm not 100% involved in the schools, but I do know, because I get newsletters and all that, and the things that I don't like, I will call and voice,
Right.
or I'll say, but the acknowledgement of knowing that you have the power is not
Right.
taught in the communities. It's just, that's your job, that's their job, and you don't have a say, like Monique was saying. But that needs to be normalized to where when we are schooling our kids or sending them off to jobs or even relationships, period, having that understanding that we're in one community twine, and whatever that you do will affect that other, and what they do will affect us as well.
Facts.
How to teach that, I have no idea. That's what we're doing this right now, because
You know what baffles me is that I see parents putting that extra effort into the athletes, the children that are athletes.
yes, yeah,
Like
They
they push them because they think that there's this golden egg at the end of the road, right? Or the end of the tunnel. Like
Mhm.
they're pushing them. They're making sure that the academics is right. They're making sure that they're able to be looked at by a 4-year college so they can get to a
Superficial,
professional status.
superficial.
It just
I know.
amazes me that we don't do that all the way around, because I feel like
Mhm.
so many of us get left behind, especially our children, and they're brilliant. But they don't even know
Mhm.
that they're brilliant because they're left behind and have nobody there advocating for them.
Mhm. Or they're placed in a box of what that student ideal will look like in that school. So whatever
Right.
they're telling for is not being fed. It's not
Yep.
being fed
Right.
into.
Exactly.
You just have to graduate.
That's
But the thing is, the only way that the society or us as a community will change is the act of doing and choosing something different. Everyone has their norm or comfortable in. We have to be uncomfortable in choosing a thing. Norm, I need to be over here writing
I know.
business right now, or whatever it is that we're doing, but it has to be tried. It has to be tried and
Mhm.
attempted. So even if it's to say, I'm going to get up and go have a conversation with my kid's counselor once a week on a Friday for 15 minutes, that is not
Mhm.
a hard thing.
You're
It's not
right.
a hard
It's
thing.
not.
You're
It
right.
just needs to be scheduled and done. And then when that becomes normal, it will increase because you already made that imprinted step. And then that will be so normal, you're going to try something new again. And
Right.
you're going to volunteer at recess, or you're going to
You're
start
right.
joining PTA. Until someone makes that little step, it's never going to change.
Right.
Stepping
So being
and trying to
proactive
make
and not
things.
reactive. Being
Correct.
Absolutely.
proactive and not reactive.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So it's okay
Absolutely.
for us to go and have the conversations with I mean, I live in the Kent school district, and if you guys didn't hear, the president of the board just left. And I see the state of the school district, so I kind of understand why. But I looked at myself and I was like, well, I can do that. I can show up at these board meetings. I actually have several problems with the Kent excuse me, the Kent school district. Yeah, because I want to get out of there. I don't even know if I want to change. I just want to get out of there. But they need a lot of overhaul, and it's sad to see these babies just being left to do whatever they want because they have nobody advocating for them. It's sad. It's really, really sad. Katrina, you kept talking about education. What do you mean by education? Why do we need to be educated?
Awareness. I think awareness triggers, going around saying those words, education or literacy, people think it's confined to a top thing or a class, so they don't want to take it. But if it's a norm to be aware or to say things and make it a norm or being aware, that does play on a role. I
Facts.
just started to do a new thing, even on Facebook. I'm not an influencer, but I will choose an afternoon thought or a morning thought, and I will label it that afternoon
Mm-hmm.
thought. Eating 3 dates a day, whatever it is that I'm doing, it's making somebody aware. I've
It is.
had phone calls. I got 4 people eating dates every day. They don't even just know that it's going to control. their blood sugar or whatever. And they text me, how many do you eat? And I'm like, well, what are you talking about? They're like, the dates. You keep going on dates.
They don't know why you break your fast with dates.
Yeah, I'm breaking my fast. Well, what does that mean? I was like, well, when you don't eat, that's the first thing I put in my stomach. So now I'm convincing people
the world why we break our fast with dates.
I'm sorry?
Do you want to tell the world why we break our fast with dates?
I don't think I'm the one to do that. I mean, I know that it is a superfood.
No,
it is a superfood. That
I think it's the sugar, though.
That's the first thing I put into my body. That was the first thing that we put into babies. My kids, they ate it. It triggers your digestion. It activates everything. It provides you for all of the nutrients that your body would even need, even if you didn't eat. Wisdom behind it, right? So if I'm breaking my fast, I didn't eat for 12, 13 days. That's going to be the first stomach, along with some water to feed my body, right? And then it'll activate my digestion, fulfill all the vitamins and everything that was throughout the day, and then I can eat a meal. I'm not going to dump like a donut in it or whatever the case. And there's value in it. It regulates your blood sugar, all the other nutrients that are in there that our bodies are missing anyway. So it's so with that being said, I joke about it and I say I'm meeting up with a date, and it always takes me to dinner, because I eat dinner right after. But just the educating acknowledgement of using the verbiage in our everyday, want to do it or be involved in it instead of being technical. Who wants to be lectured? And don't nobody care. But if you're like, hey man, I went to the school and we didn't have lunch and we did this, and it just keeps becoming a norm, more people are going to want to do it. Like, oh yeah,
you're right.
Talking to the teacher.
Normalize it, like you said.
Yep.
That's big.
Yep. Kendra says that we need to put the negative people out and work on keeping the positive around. She says me, but us, and putting God first. I totally agree. And if anybody didn't realize that we're all Muslimas. So when we were talking about fasting, we're talking about breaking our fast during Ramadan with a date. I know that is more customary than anything else I knew. That's why I wanted Monique, do you know why we break fast with a date?
It's a sunnah of the Prophet.
It is, but the wisdom is what I had to explain, though, because that's a thing.
Right. No, I know exactly, because I think it's a sugar, like it kickstarts everything.
Food. It has fiber. It has protein. It has more than one type of sugar. It is a complete food. It's like complete.
Yep. It literally will give your body everything it needs.
Different.
In the very beginning, like even with the coffee, when I eat it in the mornings. So that's a thing, but just being aware, right? Like just like with when Kendra an influence, being that role model. My daughter, I do this thing where I listen to audiobooks every morning, and it became a thing. At first I was like, oh my gosh, it's gonna be boring, and then now that's what I listen to while I'm getting dressed. I pick an audiobook that's going to be fulfilling. I kept going down the 47th audiobook in the past 6 months. I don't know. My mindset is totally off the hook right now.
That is so beautiful.
One of the things that I did learn, though, is dimension jumping. And I know this sounds crazy, but we could literally build our own community up within the mindset of the generations that we want to be involved in. Pull ourselves in this dimension. Like, for example, how it was mentioned, pushing the negative people out and only the positive. If we did that, it will literally remove those type of people if we would only be living in this dimension that we have created. Once you pull one of those people in and it festers and becomes a cancer, of course it's going to spread. But people don't understand how we can control our environment with the community and choosing which dimensions we want to live in and not live in, because it will go away. It's just like getting rid of old boyfriends, right? Like, I don't even know what my exes are doing. I don't even know if they're alive. And that sounds horrible, but they're not. I don't let them in. I don't let them in. I don't, and I'm not going to do it. So with us, even as a community, we're coming together as sisters. Man, I love, you have no idea. Like this triggered a whole big thing for me, and I love it. Like even with Monique, I've been pulling on her for like 20 years. I don't even
I know you have.
you
I've been pulling
know,
on her, trying to pull on you. No, I'm just joking.
right? Right? Hey, we all pulling on each other. But that's the thing. I won't give up. Many people
No.
in our generations, we give up like, nah, she don't want to try. Nah, they don't want to do. That's where your negativity is coming in. I just
Right.
don't ever stop. I will, if I
Yeah.
did 15 million, I hadn't had like so many different businesses or whatever, I'll find a way that somebody in my community can be involved.
Right. 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 Right.
And our network is our net worth. It's not what you know, it's who you know.
Facts. Say that again, Katrina.
Our network is our
Y'all
network.
be us. That's
It's
what.
not what you know,
That's
but it's who you know, for real. For real.
Mo,
So
education. What does education mean? What are we educating? What does that mean? I keep hearing education and we need to be educated. What does education mean?
you know.
Remember we talked about the poverty culture?
Critical thinking.
Okay.
To be educated to me, having the ability to think critically, like really, like to be able to be decisive, to be able to plan, to know how to budget, to know like there's certain what's being taught in public schools. I don't think is the basis for true education.
yes.
Yeah. So what you're saying is that what's being taught in school is not education? Is that what you said?
And that's what I said.
I agree.
Hey, you
Let
guys,
me
I'm gonna eat. So I hope
let
you
me
guys don't mind everyone seeing me eat.
Kendra, you're a part of my circle. You're a part of this circle. Let me know when you want to come on. Yeah, you got sisters in us. If you want us, you have us. You see what we're about. You see what our principles are. We just want to have peace amongst us and build without the negativity. I personally, I can't deal with negativity. I'll walk away from it.
Yes.
Denitra, it's moat learning. Yeah, I would agree.
Like,
I wish you were still on to say that.
because I want to see the look on her face when she said it.
Facts, right? Suppression of the knowledge. Is that what happens if we don't educate ourselves? That's what I feel like happens, is that we don't get the knowledge. Like, for instance, educating yourself doesn't necessarily mean formally educating yourself.
Mhm.
Educating yourself means, like, if we're talking about voting, know who's up for election. Like, do your research. That's being educated. See if they're about the causes that you want, not just based on the color of their skin, but their missions.
Yep.
And how they're going to directly support the community that you live in. Is education.
So that's like paying attention to things that concern you. Like, concern yourself with things that concern you. If it impacts you, your life, your family, your community, if you have any stake in it, if you have a say so, be involved. Like, that's where you put your energy at.
Right.
I have
We
a
should be
story.
involved in every step of our existence, to be honest.
I have
And
a
as
short
Black
story.
women, we really have to start the spearhead. We have to be the spearhead to change. We can't do it alone, but we definitely need to start speaking up for our babies and for this next generation. I'm always speaking about the music and what we're dealing with now. And I am directly responsible for it. I'm directly responsible for the trill music. My parents are directly responsible for the mass murders that are happening within our community and our children right now. Because I think that it has a lot to do with the music. What do you guys think?
I agree. I have a story, and it will relate to this. And it's interesting. I wanted to tell the story, and then you said this. So, with education, and the things that we choose to do becomes repeated. And then when it becomes repeated, it becomes your norm, and then you become blind to other things, similar to a
Right.
brainwash, like a brainwash, right? So
Brainwash.
I'm just going to talk about me for a second, briefly, and then it's going to match what you were just talking about with the music. So, in brief, I am a life insurance agent, but there's two ways to become a life insurance agent. You either become a when you do that, you become an Allstate agent, right? State Farm agent, and you know what they do?
Oh yeah,
They train you and train you and train you and train you so much so you become that character. And then
become an
that's
all-state
all you
character.
know.
Right.
And it doesn't matter what anybody else tells you, you won't be able to see it until you can actually hear what they're saying. And I say this
Right.
because I was with a captive company for 7 years. No idea what insurance actually was because I was so acclimated to their custom and their character and what they embedded in me and what was repeated until I became awoke. I had an awakening and I had to go through it. And it took a few months because I felt the breaking up of my being suppressed. And I was like, oh my goodness, are you serious? And it came to a point in some sort of transitional change form that was being embedded in me for those 7 years. Now, for music, if you're constantly hearing this over and over again, it's your norm. It's rang to a good beat. We're using those vibes of the beat to be able to absorb all of that verbiage. It becomes embedded, and now it's our norm.
We become the character.
We become the character.
Great analogy because you know all those hardcore beats that we hear and all those whack lyrics that be making people feel like they gangsters and they ain't really gangsters because they grew up in the suburbs.
Yeah.
Vibration.
3 square meals and now they walk up the other side of the house and they think they gangsters because of the music, the charactership that the persona that they take on.
How about
absolutely
this?
Amazing.
It's already known what persona one will take on based on the vibrations that it's exposed to. It's already predetermined what it will be.
Are you sure? Are you sure? Because then what happened to us? Because I listen to NWA.
But this is going too far. Who runs the music industry?
Who's always run the music industry? We won't even say that J word. Let's not. Leave the J word out.
So my point is,
but
my point is,
they know what they're doing.
Everything is known. Everything is known. Period.
They know what they're doing.
I don't care what nobody says.
I agree. I totally agree. They do know what they're doing. The destruction of Black America.
The soul, that was never the intention when it was expressed. However, everything, it is hijacked. The intention, the purity, the love, the expression that came from it. It was like, oh, really? And it's been twisted. It's been twisted since it's been twisted. And you know it. So people find a way to get in there. And now the more provocative it is, the more lewd it is. That's what's actually people are addicted to. They yearn for what's going to be next. It's wild.
Why do we fall for it though? Katrina, why do we fall for this? Why do we fall for the okie doke?
Man, it feels good. I ain't even gonna lie.
Because we're African people, we like to dance, we like music, and we like vibration of the music.
It feels good. You know what? It's normal. Put some music next to a baby. It's gonna start moving and vibrating. It don't even know what it's doing.
They don't even know the word. Here is my thought. Because we like the vibration and we like the music, is it possible? Because I remember at a point in time when I would listen to music, listen to the beats, not even hear the lyrics. But the lyrics are being recorded on my brain. You know what I mean? So unconsciously, I'm living out each love song that I've ever heard in my life. You know, that's all I listen to is R&B. But do you feel what I'm saying? Like,
which track are you on?
I become that lover from the music, from the lyrics in which I've, you know what I mean. I can bring
There
up
you
some
go.
songs
Yeah.
and
CD player.
okay, I don't want no scrubs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
I don't want a
It's you.
scrub sitting in the passenger side. You know how many times I don't look at a guy in the passenger side because there was a verse.
Man, that's in his best
Oh,
friend's
So
ride,
I'm
okay?
becoming that character. Like you said, I'm becoming that character.
Mhm.
No matter what it is, positive or negative, we transform, we take on. But
Yes.
why? Why do we fall for it? It's just like we can listen to jazz. Oh, maybe because it's popular music.
no, I said it words are spells, the energy, all of it. It's all
Mm,
it does what it's designed to do. It lulls you
break down
for a
the
moment, and then
Yep.
it satiates.
Let me tell
It's
you.
that part of the dopamine. It's dope, man.
oh
I
the
didn't listen to
dopamine.
music.
Yeah.
Look, I didn't listen to music for 15 years. I cut the
Well,
radio
what'd you
off.
do?
I studied, I cooked, I created businesses, I did everything else other than any type of entertainment. But this was when I was like super practicing, right? So those things were like not,
Yeah.
I was so embedded in something else that I didn't even care. Even to this day, I don't even
You
know
like
what's
that?
on TV, right? So because I don't know, people are like, what's going, you didn't see this, I don't even know what shows are on or whatever. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't even have, the TV's up there because it's just decoration or something, right? But I didn't. When I turned that radio, I remember the day I got divorced, and I said, you know what? And I turned the radio on. When I turned the radio on, I had this sensation that I didn't even, number one, I was scared and happy at the same time. It was weird because the beats, but then why am I even dancing to this? How do you dance to I'm a cue that I'm dancing? I'm celebrating someone, pack a gat and do what? It was
Right.
so right, but I was unaware of the lyrical content until I removed myself from it so cold that when I turned it in, that's the only thing I can home myself in on. I didn't even care about that vibration no more. It
Right.
wasn't a
Right.
norm to me. It wasn't a
Right.
norm.
I totally
When
understand.
it's
Yep.
so normal, the kids are going around skeet, 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 skeet. What the hell? You got a 3-year-old
Right.
and we're celebrating it.
Right. And
Why
isn't
are you
it crazy?
celebrating your daughter?
That
Skeet,
is
skeet all over the wall, whatever that. I don't even know what to do.
it's
Not okay.
It's almost like we don't have control because even if we listen to the radio, like even if we're trying to keep our kids from listening to certain things, even on the radio is bad. Remember when we were growing up, you couldn't even say cuss words on regular TV?
Yeah.
And now there's all kind of
Censorship.
cuss words on. So it's just
Mhm.
society baffles me. Even as becoming a sociologist, society baffles me. It always seems like it's going backwards.
It is. It is. Just like we're getting more and more naked. We're
Right.
getting more and more exposed. Our kids are not, we got billboards of men kissing and women. And I'm not saying anything's wrong with whatever type of social, economical, societal, whatever you want to claim yourself to be, or it does not have a structure in our community at all. Pretty soon, it's going to be nothing. We are not going to have boundaries because we're so into not wanting to hurt somebody's feelings because we put a boundary to be able to keep our community civil.
Is that the problem with Black America? Is that we have no boundaries? Like,
have a
because
boundary.
it's like it's so loose right now. I'm just like, I'm afraid for the future, honestly. If we don't do something right now to start changing the trajectory of our future, like, what is it going to be? I feel sorry for my daughter, my 15-year-old, just in the world that she's grown up in. When we grew up, it was cool for us to wear baggy clothes.
Mhm.
Right? Like to be tomboyish. Remember how Aaliyah used to dress? Like it was okay. We were accepted that way. And now they're only accepted if they're wearing a halter top.
Or
It's like,
because we're gonna be clothed but naked. That was what it was said. It was taught to us that
going
we're
back
gonna be
to the Garden of
clothed but
Eden.
naked.
They know we're going back to the Garden of Eden. They know they naked.
Right. But it's now
And they're
their
okay
normal
with
role is accepted.
That is so sad.
It
Super
doesn't make
sad
any
to
sense.
think about. The state of Black America. Sisters, how? Where do we
Yeah.
start? You said, okay, so what we've gotten, hold on, Kendra says, you listen to the lyrics and you hear it, and some parents just let them be free because it's hard to control it, Kendra, because it's on the radio. Like it's on all these, looking like a hoochie mama, of course, but they don't even think they look like hoochie mamas.
Yeah.
They see
Because
no
we praise
problem
it.
in having little clothes on. I grew up to walk 3/4, right? Because that's modesty. That is being a woman. I don't have to show what's under here because I want you to I want only my man to see that. The world isn't
Right.
privy to that.
Different
Why do our
idea.
girls feel like the world is privy to it now? Like I don't get it because I don't know. That's not feminism. I just came
Feminism
up
is
with the
the
answer.
worst thing that has ever happened. Excuse me. Sense of us being self and and just the role. Yeah. I think we praise the things that are bad. We're like, we call each other bitch. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? We're like,
Wait.
bitch, that don't look good, bitch. Why are we doing that? Why are we doing that? I'm guilty. That's why I brought it up.
Cultural thing though, but I guess I
It
know
is
that's something that
cultural, but why
is
is
that
so?
cultural endearment like the N word?
Yeah, and it sucks.
But that
But
doesn't
you know
make it
what?
right.
It don't make it right. That's the thing is that it's just like when you see that, right? The being the hoochie mama or whatever type of clothing, and the first thing we say is, "Ooh," we're praising it, right? Oh, shoot, look at you.
I'd be
Okay.
like, what you doing? You need to go get some clothes
Right.
on. You see how cold
Right.
it is outside?
Not pushing the respectful, not pushing the you should be respectful. Like, baby girl, this
Right.
looks better. This is what it is. Hide your body,
Yes.
be in your own feminine or whatever the case may be.
Right.
But
Mo,
we
why
push
is,
those things.
sorry, Mo, why is feminism wrong? Why is it the worst thing? You guys said it was the worst thing. Why is it the worst thing that's happened to us? I know my opinion. I want to hear you guys.
Feminism is really unnecessary to me personally. I feel like our way doesn't always need to be labeled. Just be. All the pounding on your chest to claim something or try to redistribute something that's already there. It's like you're already given these powers. You like, why do you need to declare something? That's really for me. I swear, and I'm in a class right now with the title "Black Feminist" in it, but the content is on point. The healing, the exposure, everything's there. Everything is there. Why these things equated with something that carries a negative connotation to it? Like,
Right.
it's that ist word we were talking about.
Right. No, she said ship.
No,
She said we need to jump on any ship, all ships on the way out
no,
to
I
America.
ist. The ist as in like racist or
Oh,
sexist.
yeah.
The ist that's attached to feminist is like what it means you are pro women or you are anti something else. So
Right.
it's like that, and that's what it is. Feminism is dismantle the patriarchy. So it's not just we are women and we have this capacity to be or to do or whatever. It is no, we are equal and we can even replace your ass.
Facts. Facts.
That is
Facts.
what it.
I'm gonna chime in. I think, and maybe this comes with a lot of, study of other things or whatever. But let's just strip away opinion, right? We have a community, right? So we got all these other and we got their community and they fully function in ways that they should by the way that they were already designed. We got leadership, we got their women, we got their children. The ant actually is the best community success, if any. But of that nature. Now,
You said that.
not to say that a woman shouldn't be proud and boosted, and say we can do and fight for your own selves. Yes, you should. Just we have alpha and beta, we have feminine and masculine. Everybody has masculine feel or energy is what you lead with or fight with, that becomes the problem. So now let's just say if we did have this, hoorah, feminist to be equal, then why are you crying when you in more? Why are you crying you getting boxed by somebody? Why are you crying that you're in and you could not handle it based on our natural design? Not to say you cannot do a thing. Not to say you cannot do a thing, but let it be in its place. It's just like with our community. We bash, the men, that screw these men. I want to be, no one wants me. What? How you gonna say that in the same sentence? How do you say that?
Hilarious.
Absolutely hilarious. But I mean, you don't want to help me. What? How can you play both roles? How can you put yourself in the thing? So now we have all this big movement when it came back in just the 50s and 60s over pay or treatment, right? Okay, pay and treatment. Now let's put the women in what they fought for. Just agree and say, okay, cool, and put them there. We will not be successful.
Right.
We will not be. We won't be. And then now our communities are far gone. And I'm not saying roles like put yourself in a role, because I'm a strong woman. I'm not gonna. You're not gonna tell me I can't be. I can't be a housewife. I tried. I done it. I did. And when I was in it, it fulfilled everything that it should have been. Because if not, I wouldn't be where I'm able to relax. I didn't have to worry about, what is that? Survival. I was able to relax in my feminine, homeschool my kids, build businesses, do what I had to do. It is to leave it. That's the difference in where I was saying really put us in a hard position, because now we're on the outcry of the B in our parts in the community. But how do you reverse that when we just fought for it? Now we're here talking about whose responsibility is it of our Black community? Us. Us.
That's what I needed to hear. We are correct.
Come on now. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yep. You're right. You're so right. Let me just say this. Feminism did not start for the empowerment of Black women. That alone should flicker the light bulb. Just for us to reimagine and rethink about some of the labels that they've actually attached to us that have nothing to really do with us. And we don't even really benefit from it anyways. Even when we're talking about higher wages, white women make more money than Black women, period. Right? So they have more opportunities. They make more money than we do. So yeah, I wholeheartedly do not believe that feminism is a fight of the African-American woman. And that could definitely be our next subject. I want to thank you ladies for coming onto the Soulutionary podcast with me tonight. Did you say something?
I said, you're so dope.
If you guys should just sit still and let me do my last piece, that would be super grateful. I love you both. And I will definitely be calling on you guys to come back onto the podcast.
Anytime.
Thank you for your opinions and your solutions. And we're going to keep building on these solutions so we can come up with something. And just to give ideas of just how we can just start to move into our communities to make change, because that's what's necessary. My last segment, I do want to make sure that we acknowledge the people that are doing the work. Tonight, we will be honoring Cynthia Brady. Cynthia Brady, you can see her. There was a really good article on her a couple years ago through the University of Washington. She is in Kitsap County, and she is the Hope Pusher, is what she calls herself. This week was her birthday as well, so happy birthday. She has a degree in ethics, gender, and labor studies. She also has a certificate in chemical dependency and human services. I just wanted to give your flowers to you and tell you thank you for being who you are in our community. We love you. We appreciate the work. Um, yeah, you can tell that I'm a little nervous by giving you the shout out, but I just wanted to let you know that we love you and we do appreciate you. Yes, definitely give you your roses while you're here, and you know that I will do that. Again, you can see her article on magazine.washington.edu. Go check it out. She's super, super dope. And I am grateful to call her my godmom. Until next time, oh, make sure that you like and subscribe so I can show my worth to this network. And we'll see you again next week at 7. Peace.